differently abled, differently.
Welcome back, and you're watching Abled Differently. Brenda Kiema tells her journey of motherhood, a story that not so many women with disabilities are willing to share due to lack of information and societal stigma. Here is her story.
At an early age, I got polio. That was at age of 3. And it was not easy because at that early age, I was taken to a boarding school. And for 8 years, I was in a Portris primary school. And this brought a lot of problems to the family because my father was in denial. My mother did not understand what happened. The community where I came from, or I come from, they look at it as either parents have committed a certain sin, or it's a curse, or it's a bad omen. And so there was a lot of friction. So for me to get where I am today, it took quite a number of people to support me through.
When Brenda Kiema, a disability inclusion officer at Tangaza University, Kenya, went for her first pregnancy clinic, the reception from her attendant wasn't as pleasant.
When I went for the first clinic when I was pregnant, the nurse who was attending me, she asked me a very interesting question. What happened? She can see I'm pregnant, but she's wondering what happened to me. Well, I'm a very cheeky person. I asked her, what do you think happened? So she laughed and she knew this is a person with disability who understands what I'm talking about. But they always think either you were raped, this was a forced sex that got you into pregnancy, because you were not supposed to, according to the standards that have been set by the society.
Today, she shares her views and concerns about social reproductive health rights for women with disabilities.
This is not just about us with disability. This is a problem that is cutting across. Even the poor women, they're experiencing the same problems as persons with disabilities. But let's stick to persons with disabilities. I don't know how the society views people with disability. It's like they don't belong. We don't have feelings. We cannot have children. We cannot have families. We are supposed to be in the world where we just live and die. Persons with disabilities, they are human beings. They are women. We have women who have disability, we have men with disabilities. They have feelings like any other person. And it is important for them to know their rights, issues to do with their reproductive everything, and also to have the knowledge, to be exposed to this knowledge.
In her opinion, Brenda feels the need for inclusivity from all relevant stakeholders in terms of training and empowerment.
Myself, I just have the physical disability, and I'm not having like serious deformities. We are having other persons with disabilities who are on wheelchairs. Now this one, things could get more complicated. We have others who are short, very short. So the space of their stomach is so squeezed, but this person is pregnant. The big question is, do the nurses or health providers have the knowledge of how to deal with them? And I have discovered, as a person who has lived with disability over 40 years, if they don't understand what to do, they prefer not even to handle the case. And that's why we are losing so many. We women with disability, before we decide to become pregnant, we need to start the journey with the medics, with the healthcare service providers. We need to consult. We need to go through some checkups. We need to understand whether our body mechanism can handle the pregnancy. It's very important. I believe it was just a miracle for me to be surrounded by these doctors. And for sure, they did the best. And that's why I'm alive today. Because you can hear my HB was low. My blood group is B negative, a very rare blood. So if you lose a lot of blood and the blood is not in the blood banks, you are as good as dead. So if we have these categories of doctors and to know how to handle women with disabilities, and during the clinic, they need to train them. They need to talk to them. They need to tell them even about the hygiene, even about everything. That's what they need to do. They become like they journey with you.
Persons with disabilities do not get the required support. Therefore, the need for inclusion and sensitization.
79% of persons with disability, they live in the village. Why is that? I was looking at the statistics of the Commission of University Education. They are talking of 686. These are the only persons with disabilities who have managed to acquire, not even to acquire, who are in the higher learning institutions. What percentage of these people? That's like 0.00 something. Meaning the environment is not conducive for them to thrive. Based on the environment where you're growing, it is a determinant of how you behave. Persons with disability tend to withdraw. And they build their own cocoon where they feel that is where they can thrive. It is the formation that has made them to be what they are. If they're in a good environment, a loving environment, a supportive environment, you will not even see what you're talking about.
Despite the challenges she encountered during pregnancy, motherhood is a journey Brenda is grateful for.
I had the challenges of a broken relationship. I had challenges of not being able to get the medication that has been prescribed. Then, because I had a very low income, I could not go like to private hospitals where maybe you can access everything that you're supposed to. But I applaud the public hospitals because if you keep going, now it's like they get used to you and somehow they'll be helping you in one way or the other. It's a really nice feeling. Okay, when I say it's a nice feeling, I'm not advocating for the young women with disabilities who are not of age to start giving birth. Myself, I got my first baby, who is the only baby, at age 33. So of course I'm mature enough to have a baby, with or without a husband, because that time I was not married. I was just dating. And when my son came, for the years that we've been together with Enoch, it's always a joy. He's 13 years. He's 12 years right now. So he's turning 13 next month in May. And as a woman with disability with a child, you always have a reason to work extra hard. And now the society also, they put you in another category. They start looking at you as someone who is even adding value to the society, because if you can have a baby, like this is what my mother said, you mean you have a baby? How? I have a grandson. So she became very happy. My sister doesn't have a baby. My young sister, though she's of age. So my mom keeps on telling her, look at your sister. Your sister is even disabled and she has a baby. Do you know what that statement means? I'm not supposed to, but somehow I do. Yeah. So I've gone against all the odds to have a baby. So she needs to have.
Proud of the role she plays in inclusion for persons with disabilities, she urges those involved in pushing for sexual reproductive health rights to reach out to women with disabilities.
We have different programs. And the government has the National Council for Persons with Disabilities. And this council has been mandated on issues to do with capacity building, awareness creation, reaching out. So they need to come up with these programs. And we have these DPOs, Disability People's Organizations. These are the teams that needs to be trained on sexual health, reproductive rights. And now that information needs to trickle down. We can say it's because of the major ignorance about the existence of persons with disabilities. Look at the statistics that came out the other day. In 2009, they were talking of 1.3 million persons with disability. 2019, they are talking of what? 900,000. Meaning 500,000 people with disability died within a period of 10 years and nobody else became disabled. That is exactly what they are telling us. But if we go by the statistics of WHO, they say 10% of the country's population, they are people with disability. So if we are talking of 45 million, we are talking of 4.5 million. And that could be the actual statistics, because there are so many.
Let's take a look at the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
Article 25 of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities states that state parties shall, Part B, provide those health services needed by persons with disabilities, specifically because of their disabilities, including early identification and intervention as appropriate, and services designed to minimize and prevent further disabilities, including among children and older persons.
And here is the tip for the day.
So sexual health reproductive, it's about the care, access to information, and also making decisions about you. But if you don't have this knowledge, how will you apply it? And because you are so used to be put down in everything, so even when you go to the clinic, and maybe the nurse did not give you the attention you required, you just continue believing that things will be okay.
We've come to the end of the show. Today, we've featured a first of the many to come conversations on sexual and reproductive health for persons with disabilities. Keep it KBC Channel 1 and of course, Able Differently to be part of this conversation. My name is Jane Theory. Goodbye.
We are here and we are strong. Let's be counted as we move on. Make a difference, change lives as we tell our different stories. We are capable, beautiful. We are born to do great things. We're unstoppable, incredible, 'cause we're differently abled, differently.